couple things at play here. One, as you alluded to, I think obviously he wants to get the negotiations kick-started because he's obviously frustrated with what's going on, and he probably figures as though, look, if I come in here, I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing a damn thing. I'm not touching the field. But maybe that'll show them that, look, I'm serious about being the dude that everyone knows that I am already. Not that I need to prove it to you, that I'm the consummate team player. You know I'm that guy. You know I'm the guy that you need coming off the edge in order for us to have any kind of shot of being a contender in any way or shape or form in the North. Now let's just see if we can get this going. Also, that $50,000 a day starts to add up. And that's money that cannot be forfeited. I mean, that cannot be just waived. He's going to have to pay that fine when ultimately he signs his contract. I'm just shocked that we're even at this point, though. I really am. I'm shocked that a guy of Trey Hendrickson's football character, personal character, his production on the field in the past, and what you project him to do in the future, is at a point where now we're continuing to drag this on. Because with every single day that he misses, you're putting him at risk for some kind of stupid or ridiculous, unnecessary soft tissue injury or something of that nature that winds up cutting down on his production once you do get him under contract and get him on the football field. And then the conversation becomes, see, this is what happens when you pay guys who are going to be 31 years old and they miss time, and they're guys who are on the downside of their career. When it really, this is all unnecessary. This is an easy contract to do. This should be figured out. I just don't understand these types of things. It's hard enough to build a football team, but with premium players that are premium people that have produced for you in the past and are going to produce for you in the future, this is easy. And it seems like the NFL has a habit of making this very difficult.
Well, let's get to one thing. He signed a 2-year extension last year, and he's under contract. He's not a free agent. He's under contract. So he is contractually, in a court of law, he'd lose because he is under contract. Now you want to tell me he's overperformed his contract? He's the Bengals. But if he underperformed his contract, he wouldn't get the money. He wouldn't get the money back.
But he didn't underperform it. So we don't have to talk about it.
But he didn't. But Lewis, has Dak Prescott underperformed his contract? Yet he gets his $60 million. There are plenty of people who underperform, who don't give their money back. I stuck this year, take the money back and return it. That's the way it goes. You sign a contract, you have to live up to your contract. Trey Hendrickson is under contract. Now, I don't have any problem. Good job for him. I think he wants to play. I think they'll work out an agreement. But the bottom line is, be fair here, Lewis.
Hold on.
He's not a free agent.
First of all,
he signed his contract.
Dak got hurt.
But, okay, has he underperformed in the past based on the money that he has been paid? Yes, he has.
Has he underperformed in the past? Let's see. Okay, so what are we basing that on? Are we basing that on team success or his individual performance?
Individual success. Okay. When he stinks in the playoffs and he's making $45 million a year, you say, you know what? I didn't earn that $45 million. I got to do better there. Here's $20 million back. No, he didn't. I got a contract. I'm taking the money. And this is the same thing with Hendrickson. He had 17.5 sacks last year. He is under contract.
So you're saying, do you believe that any contract should be renegotiated when you grossly outperform your salary?
And how about, should it go the other way?
Let me ask you
how about if you underperform?
Well, teams can wind up asking you to take a pay cut. Oh, they can wind up asking you to take a pay cut. They can wind up asking you to do that. They can ask you to do it just like you can ask for a pay raise.
Right, I'm saying that, but nobody no team says take less money because they know that's going to cause many grief. They have the contract. They live up to the terms of that contract. Why hasn't Hendrickson lived up to the terms of that contract? He's under contract. He signed it 2 years ago. He moaned and groaned about how he wasn't paid. They gave him a 3-year contract. He's still under contract this season. You and I can't do that. Well, I've outperformed the ESPN. I'm not coming to work unless you give me the deal.
You know what, Doggy? Zip it.
No,
Zip it. I've had enough of you. Zip it right now.
No,
zip it.
You're
here's the deal.
Some of you get it. I'm surprised you.
Just because you look younger and you got the energy of somebody in their 20s doesn't negate the fact that you're an old curmudgeon, because that's how you're acting right now. The contract. Trey Hendrickson has 35 sacks over the last 2 years.
Right.
That's 4.5 sacks more than anybody in the National Football League.
Yes.
On top of that, hold on, I said zip it. I just told you to zip it, okay? I'm talking. The bottom line is this. This defense is horrid. He is the one bright spot. He's also the guy that the franchise, Joe Burrow, came on this show during Super Bowl week and said, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Trey Hendrickson, we got to take care of those three. You understand? Why is it not a surprise that Trey Hendrickson is in this situation? because it's Mike Brown, the owner of the Cincinnati Bengals. You've been covering this league long enough, Doggy. You know how bad Mike Brown is. You know how notoriously cheap he has been, tight with his dollars, the decision making. Now listen, not only does he own the team, him and Jerry Jones are only the only de facto GMs, or GMs rather, from an ownership perspective in the National Football League as well. This man lets the committee, influence him to some degree, but he's the one that makes the decision. And we all know that he was reviled for how he was running this for years. They lucked up and got Joe Burrow. That's what changed their fortune. So we got to remember that. And when you bring up, your contract, the contract, you're not separating the NFL from basketball, from baseball. This is not them. The NFL has clearly come to players to restructure their team. They've clearly come to players and let them know you don't take less, we're going to get you up out of here. The NFL has done that on many, many occasions. Lewis knows I'm right. It's not always there. This is the National Football League. So it happens. So how are you acting like you don't know that, dog?
You're talking about honoring contracts. How many teams have cut players for salary cap reasons as far as honoring it?
Well, it's about the guarantee.
No. How many times do teams cut players because they
it's a
feel
salary cap. They have to.
They have to?
They got to get under the salary cap. Somebody's got to go.
Oh, okay.
It's a
So what they do is
sport.
they make business decisions. You're talking about honoring you said honor the contract. It's not the player's job to manage the salary cap for a football team. So if you can't manage it and you can't honor my contract as was negotiated, that's not my problem. That's your problem as a team. But they're allowed to cut players. They're allowed to cut players for salary cap reasons, right? Well, I'll tell you what. As a player, I can be allowed for salary cap reasons to say this. I'm woefully underpaid relative to the salary cap and relative to the salaries of other teams and other players at my position. So guess what? I don't give a damn about what I just signed. I want a raise. Just like you can tell me, either you take a pay cut because we have to get under the salary cap, or you're out the door. I'm telling you, either give me a raise or I'm not coming through the door. And that's exactly what's happening, dog. That's exactly what's happening.
They don't do that in baseball and basketball, but they do it in football.
I don't like to support Mike Brown, but Steve, be fair.
But that's what's happening.
$300 million to the two receivers.
That is not Trey Hendrickson's problem.
Well, but he said, you have to million under the salary cap.
Then get someone else to manage your salary cap. Or don't manage Joe Burrow. Don't just sit there.
But they're not going to listen to the quarterback.
Hey, Juan, tell you what. It's not Trey Hendrickson's responsibility. I'm just saying. It's not. Yes, sir.
Lewis. Molly, we can move on, Molly and Lewis, because Doggy is lying to his teeth. For years, this man has done radio, and he has lamented the Cincinnati Bengals. He barely talks about
he has.
They were not relevant until Joe Burrow arrived, and Mike Brown was considered one of the worst owners in football. There was once they had fans had bags over their heads for years.
Fair.
Stop it.
He's done a good job.
All right, so don't bring up what he just did for Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
And they're going to get boat raced in the north with no defense.
All right, gentlemen, I got to take us to commercial break, but this is the first take that I know. Some good debate. Everybody's fired up.
By the way, Molly.
This is what I'm talking about. Yes, Stephen.
To the directors, I love the screen, me on the screen, but make sure my shot is safe. Not too much to the left or the right. The people need to see me up in the middle. So
We're trying to swivel to make sure we got you covered, trying to give them eye contact.
Is that better right there? Is that a good shot right there? Is that even here? Let me just move over a little bit. Is that better?
There you go.
Here we go.